Hey guys, my name is Ashley Donaldson, and today I will be presenting BIM technology, its proposed benefits and adoption process for the small business contractor. So first, I just wanted to start with a quick video on BIM.
BIM. You've probably heard about it. And you may know that today's architects, engineers, construction professionals, and owners are using BIM from small or seemingly simple projects, like a building or roadway, to complex multidisciplinary projects, like a major urban development, and everything in between. But what is it? What is BIM? BIM, Building Information Modeling. At its core, is a holistic process for creating and managing project data within an intelligent 3D model. From plan and design to build and operate, it's much more than a single tool or technology. It's the foundation for digital transformation in the architecture, engineering, and construction industry. With BIM, project teams can collaborate in a shared cloud-based environment. BIM allows teams to create a dynamic 3D model of all the data associated with the project, capturing all physical and functional characteristics and relationships for buildings and infrastructure. Everyone on the team can access all essential data in real time to collaborate more easily, to use simulation and analysis, and convey design intent to improve designs, quality, and client satisfaction. And with today's critical need for sustainable construction practices and eco-friendly structures, teams can efficiently explore a wide range of options and develop innovative strategies to deliver comfort, performance, and energy savings. BIM enables close collaboration across design and construction teams, which can help reduce errors and rework and help teams achieve improved timelines, cost savings, and better project outcomes. Innovators like you are shaping new possibilities, moving ideas and designs from 2D to 3D and into the cloud, collaborating smarter to create solutions that the world needs today and tomorrow. And that is the power of BIM.
All right. So just wanted to give you guys a little introduction to building information modeling. So this is an introduction to building information modeling and its benefits. So with the BIM definition, it is a highly collaborative process that allows architects, engineers, real estate developers, contractors, manufacturers, and other construction professionals to plan, design, and construct a structure or building with one 3D model. So I just wanted to get into the known benefits of BIM in the construction industry, which kind of just touched on the video, but in a quick overview, it minimizes material waste, reduces human errors in data retrieval and input, shortens project timelines, and you see an overall reduction of construction cost. So I would like to talk a little bit about the current state of BIM technology adoption. So right now, large companies have adopted the implementation of BIM across the world. Government mandates for the use of BIM for complex projects have been issued in several different countries. And so what does this mean for small business contractors, and why are only large companies adopting this advanced technology? It's just kind of a question I wanted to provide at the beginning of this presentation to help you guys think about it during the course. Okay, so for my research project, what is the problem statement? The integration and implementation process of BIM for the SME is difficult, and SME refers to small to medium-sized enterprises. And the current sentiment towards adoption of the technology by the SME is viewed as resistant. So this leads us into the research objective and the hypothesis. So the research objectives were as follows: to determine social awareness of the SME of the opportunities that BIM brings, collect data on the matter through conducting surveys with the SMEs, which includes questionnaires, interviews, and the interviews are conducted to inquire and discuss desire to maintain daily operations, social awareness of BIM and its benefits, and determine other areas of resistance to BIM technology. Then we're going to propose a simple 3-step implementation method, and then cross-reference that proposed method with current research literature to verify. So now I'd like to get into the literature review. So in the literature review that I conducted, large amounts of studies related to the adoption and implementation process of BIM for large-scale companies, but lack of relevant research for the SME in relation to BIM implementation processes. So the issue we have here is that small to medium-sized enterprises constitute 99% of the construction industry. And the very first point of knowledge that I obtained through the literature review was that we need to raise awareness through to the research community of their obligations to fill the gap in literature on the benefits of BIM and its adoption processes for the SME, because there's just not a lot of literature out there right now and research that is relevant to this problem. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the diffusion of BIM technology. So we have several different adoption methods out there right now. So we do see a systemic adoption by the use of government subsidies. And so the government subsidies in turn increase the technological diffusion rate, especially through adoption incentives. And that in turn offsets the upfront cost to contracting firms in relation to the adoption of BIM. However, there are limitations to this approach. This is not specific to the small business sector. There's not a lot of small businesses that have access to BIM, and in turn, we are seeing the BIM revolution happen right now, which is basically just the large scale firm policy intervention. So like these big companies and organizations, they're really the only ones right now that are using BIM. So I also just kind of wanted to touch on the main implementation barriers of BIM adoption for the small and medium-sized enterprise. So the number one reason why there is a barrier to BIM or barrier of BIM adoption for the small contractor is because of cost. It's incredibly high up front. Not a lot of people can afford it. So that's a pretty huge issue. And also knowledge. So a lot of small contractors are not even aware that BIM exists, let alone its benefits. So here's some recommendations on what we can do in light of these challenges. So according to the research, lean construction and BIM needs to be promoted in unison through further analysis of the matter by the research community in regards to the small business sector. And then in turn, put into practice with soft landing strategies to kind of ease everybody into it. So closing the research gap on BIM for the small to medium-sized enterprise, we need to identify factors in the success or failure of implementing BIM for the small and medium-sized enterprise. And how do we do this? We need to cross-reference current research literature after refining lexical inconsistencies in the data collection, and then compile studies and analyze the data in order to produce a verified model of BIM adoption for the SME. So based on the literature review, here are some reasons for resistance towards BIM adoption from the SME perspective. The lack of simple implementation process is a major concern for the adoption of BIM for the SME. So one of the few academic studies specific to BIM adoption for the SME was this one right here. It's called a 3-step BIM implementation framework for the SME contractors. It was written in 2018. And during their research, a 3-step plan was developed. And that includes the phases of understanding, planning, and piloting. So it does, simple implementation methods do exist for the small to medium-sized enterprise. There's just not a lot of research backing it right now, but these were the results of this study. So the SMEs were determined to conduct successful implementation of BIM through the orientation and unison of its people, processes, technology, and organization. So based on the literature review, here are some reasons for resistance towards BIM adoption from the SME perspective. Main one would be the economic barrier that we had talked about before, high upfront cost. And this was a study written in 2018 as well. It's called the implementation of BIM in small home building businesses. So this study basically reported that despite upfront cost, BIM implementation was still deemed to be beneficial to the small business contractor. And in the course of their research, they also developed another 3-step example of a BIM implementation plan for the SME. Initiation, stabilization, and progression were the 3 phases that they had recommended for the adoption of BIM in the SME. And these results were verified through the use of interviews. So according to the literature review, implementation of BIM in small home building businesses had some very, very important limitations that it included the economic barriers limited the number of available cases that the proposed implementation method could be tested against. So because of the fact that BIM software and implementation is expensive, there were not a lot of available small contractors that had the ability to even be a part of the case study. So I just wanted to touch on some other benefits of BIM for the SME. So assessing the performance of the building. Oh yeah, this was a study. So assessing the performance of the building information modeling implementation process within a small specialty contracting enterprise. This was written in 2015 and shows a significant decrease in project and labor cost over a 2-year period. So it is demonstrated to be beneficial for the small contractor despite the heavy upfront cost. And I just also wanted to touch on the fact that quality and project scope were factors that were not deemed significant with the use of BIM for the SME. So there's still a lack of research on the quality, like how quality and project scope are affected with the use of BIM. And one of the main benefits to the use of BIM is considered to be increased collaboration from all parties. But what that looks like in this study, it was pretty limited because most of the SMEs work alone. So, if you have a masonry contractor that comes out, like, he pretty much only works with the people that lay the brick. It's not a whole lot of collaboration as far as independent contractors go. So that could be a limitation. So I wanted to moving on into the research plans. So the research plan is in order to determine the SME's current level of social awareness of BIM technology and its respective benefits, to determine the SME sentiment towards BIM, to determine the SME industry's priority level in maintaining daily operations. And this is how we're going to do it. So number one, the use of the survey approach to collect qualitative data through detailed questionnaire, structured interviews with a variety of SMEs. And then number two, we're going to analyze the data collection. Number three, we're going to devise a simple 3-step BIM implementation plan. Number four, we're going to cross-reference implementation plan in concordance with a current review of research literature. Number five, we're going to determine the proposed BIM implementation plan level of acceptance with the SME contractor. And this is how we're going to do it. So we're going to conduct unstructured interviews to provide open-ended responses. And then number six, we're going to determine if the proposed method would be considered successful and feasible to the small contractor through the analysis of the corresponding qualitative data resulting from the interviews. And then we're going to take that data and then dictate their results accordingly. So we're moving on to expected data and outcomes. Based on the research plan, qualitative data will be collected through the use of survey or questionnaire, structured interview, unstructured interview. And then here's how we're going to define the types of questions and data. So defining the types of questions used for the questionnaire. Just wanted to give you guys an example on what this would look like. So it's, do you know what building information modeling is? And that's just a simple yes or no answer. But this answer will, this will answer the first research objective and determine which is to determine if the SME is socially aware of BIM and its benefits. But this is through a binary and definitive method. So, you only have one or two things that you can say here, and it's going to give clear boundaries for the data moving forward. So now I want to define the types of questions used for the structured interview. So this is just another example. Do you feel that the implementation of BIM in your company will result in the hindrance of daily operations, and why? So these are face-to-face interviews, and they will result in a collection of qualitative data that cannot be seen through questionnaire. So this includes like facial expressions, tone of voice, body language, things of that nature. So this will still produce definitive responses based on the binary style of questions, but responses can then be lexically categorized and analyzed in conjunction with the literature review. So moving on, I want to define the types of questions used for the unstructured interview. So qualitative data collection, this consists of a qualitative data collection with a little more freedom of expression. So this is going to provide context and reasoning behind the answers that the participants are going to give us, which provides a comprehensive perspective overall. It also determines if the proposed methodological approach to BIM implementation will be validated by the SME. So do they agree, that this is going to work for them on a daily basis? And here's a sample data point that I would receive do you believe, so this is the sample question, do you believe the proposed simple method of BIM adoption will be successful and why? And then their example response would be, I believe the proposed method of BIM adoption will be successful for SMEs due to its lowered upfront costs and three-step process. I also believe it will be successful because of the lack of interference the plan has with the daily operations of the laborer. So here's some expected challenges when conducting this type of research. The potential for resistance by the SME and willingness to take part in the research process. So, I mean, people can always tell you, you know, hey, I don't really want to do this, or I don't have time, or anything like that. So here's the proposed solution in efforts to combat that type of challenge, which would be to prepare a 3-minute or quick presentation to introduce BIM and its benefits of adoption to the contractor. Even if they do not agree to participate, this will contribute to raising awareness in conjunction with the research community's obligation to spread knowledge relevant to BIM. So, I mean, we're still succeeding in at least raising awareness and promoting the idea and introduction of BIM to these people that don't even know what it is. So, you know, maybe they might move on from this presentation and decide that they want to look more into it and see that it can actually benefit their company. So the broader impact from the research, it is extremely important to develop a data collection process that is sensitive to the traditional nature of the construction industry for research purposes and the continuation of technological diffusion. So in order to get this technology out there, like, we have to be able to, you know, develop a data collection process that keeps in mind, you know, how the construction industry actually operates on a daily basis, and make sure, you know, that we are promoting these ideas with the idea that, you know, like, not everybody wants to necessarily change how they do everything, you know. And also, with the current shift of the construction industry towards the implementation of advanced technology, the fact that SMEs constitute 99% of the industry and are currently resistant to the adoption of BIM could pose an industry-wide issue in relation to becoming technologically stagnant if there's no development of an implementation plan devised specifically for them. I mean, 99% is literally the majority. So if this research is deemed successful, SMEs have the potential to indulge in the benefits of BIM that are only being taken advantage of by their corporate and large scale counterparts. So and just to kind of wrap it up here, I wanted to show you guys some more benefits of BIM in construction. So here we have maximized efficiency, reduced cost and wastage, improved cost estimates, better insights into projects, communication and collaboration, less risk and wastage, and better end results. So that was pretty much it, just to wrap it up. But that's why I wanted to do my research project on this, is because, I mean, I'm almost done with my master's program here. So I've taken a few different courses that touch on the use of BIM and its benefits and everything and its application. And the one thing that I've seen that has been missing has been the use of BIM for the small contractor. And, you know, we've touched on why that is, as far as like high upfront cost and, you know, all the barriers to implementation. But if we are able to get this technology in the hands of, you know, the everyday citizen, I really do believe that it can have just huge exponential impact on the construction industry. So just kind of wanted to leave you guys with that. And next page is just going to be all my references that you can see here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation, and thanks for listening. And I enjoyed being in this class. Talk to you guys later. Thanks.